what do I do with my kids for 25 hours when we're completely screen-free every single week? That is what I'm going to share with you here today. Welcome back to Hi Fam. I'm Avital, and I'm here on a mission to help you to build a strong family culture, to love parenting, to parent from love, and it's all operating from the belief that meaning begins at home. You know, sometimes I feel like there is a crisis of meaning in the world, that people aren't sure where to get that sense of purpose, of fulfillment from. And I believe that as parents, we have a pretty easy hack because there is no project that feels more meaningful than raising the next generation, literally forming and molding the future. So today, I'm actually going to share with you something that's deeply personal and that I hope will inspire you and give you some ideas. I'm sharing with you because I grew up in a Jewish, modern Orthodox home, and I still have such a home. Today, I'm raising my children pretty much the same way. And one of the key factors in our religious practice is that we observe Sabbath, Shabbat, which means that we are off of screens. We do not use electronics, the car, the phone, anything from Friday at sundown all the way to Saturday at sundown. And what that means is that we have a tech-free weekend. Now, inside of my membership, the studio, one of the things that I teach and one of the projects that our parents from all over the world, I have thousands of students who come there to create a strong family culture. And one of the things that they practice, one of the projects that they put in place is having tech-free time every week. Now, it might not be a whole weekend. I think that's a bit much for most people, but even just having a few hours a week where we're with our family and we're having quality time that is not distracted by constant notifications and pings and just the draw and the pull of that dopamine rabbit hole that is the internet. So today, I'm actually going to share with you the things that we do on our weekend and what it looks like. I have 0 videos from any Sabbath ever because I don't use electronics. So I don't take any pictures from that time. Now, I love taking pictures and videos of my family, but I am fully present and with them on the weekends. And so can't share with you any footage specifically from that, but I am going to share with you the types of things that we do. And I'm going to suggest that potentially you might want to carve out some time on your weekend for it to be screen-free as well. Now, I do just want to be honest about one thing. It's much easier to do this type of thing when you're in a community that does it. It is much easier when you have the support and the camaraderie and the help and even the peer pressure of other people who are living a similar lifestyle. And many of my friends who aren't part of a Jewish environment say to me, like, how do you do it? It's so hard. And I say back to them, it is so hard without that kind of enveloping culture. However, inside of the studio, inside of Hi Fam, that is the type of culture that we've created where we're supporting one another with these goals. So if you ever feel isolated or alone on your parenting journey, or like you're not even sure what your values are, or you're the only one living them, then I really warmly urge you and invite you to get on the wait list for the studio. Not everyone can get in and it's not open most of the time, but I would love to extend you the opportunity to get on the wait list so that you can join us when doors do open, because in there you will find an alternative to the social media that spikes anxiety and, comparisonitis and the sense that we're always doing everything wrong. And instead, you'll be able to be joined by thousands of parents worldwide who are each on a mission to create their own family culture. Not my family culture, not the same as me, their family culture that really is directly influenced by their values and goals for themselves, right? We really have a huge diversity of families from every walk of life, from every major religion, and not religious at all, from one single child to many children, blended families, homeschooling families, you name it, they're all in there, they're all in the studio. And what binds us all together is that we're all trying to create a strong family culture. So with that said, what do we do on the weekends? Number one, the first thing that we do is that we actually rest a lot more on the weekends because we don't have movies to distract us, because we're not scrolling up late at night, because we can't get on the phone for work calls or on Zoom or on researching or any of that. We rest a lot more. I think the quality of our sleep on Friday night is higher. We go to bed earlier, we sleep in later. And that is kind of, I guess, the biblical idea of the Sabbath is a day of rest. And this is a day where we're much more likely to rest well, to sleep sleep well, and even maybe sometimes to nap in the afternoons, like to really make a day where we're not rushing around and where we're not distracted helps, I think, to lower the levels of dopamine and to lower that level of the rush and the hustle and to help us unwind our bodies. I always find that on Friday night, I'm tired at like 7 p.m., right? Because there's something about that atmosphere that just calms everything down and that helps us get into that restful mindset. The second thing that happens on our screen-free weekends is that my kids play incessantly. They play non-stop. They play imaginative games. Remember, it's tech-free, so they're always playing with Lego, with Playmobil, with Magnetiles, outside, running around with Nerf guns, running around with their friends, playing hide and seek, going on the swings, right? They're moving their bodies and they're playing with our dog. They're playing with the neighbors. They're playing in the playground nearby. They're just really playing for hours. I would say probably about 7 hours of the day is spent in play. And then we play with them more because it's tech-free and we can't be working and we can't be distracted. We play things like board games, right? This is a time where we'll get out the Catan or Monopoly or Codenames or poker and play a long family game. We can really indulge in playing cards or playing Scrabble and playing with these old-fashioned board games like maybe you and I played when we were growing up and that kids today don't really play anymore because they're on screens. We play board games. The next thing that we do a lot on our tech-free weekends is that we read, right? This is a time when I finally get into my book, when my kids will just be found snuggled up on the couch, curled into the fetal position, reading their book. This is a time for reading, a time when I can indulge in reading them more stories, more books than I would otherwise, that they can get into their books, that we can get into our books. And I love that because I think it's so important for us to model reading in our family. Books are a big deal. And I want them to see me reading as well, not just for them to read. And that's something that they finally get to see on the weekends. The next thing that we love to do in our tech-free time is to walk. We like to go out on long nature walks. We like to go out maybe to the playground or maybe walking to a friend's house. But because we don't take the car out, this is a time where we're stretching our legs, when we are trying to get out in nature or to just be outdoors. You know, there's no screen entertainment. And so we have to kind of create the entertainment. And one of the things that we do is really just go on a nice long walk around the neighborhood or walk to the botanical gardens or walk out into the forest and stretch our legs. The next thing that is typically done on a religious Sabbath, but could be done certainly in a secular way as well, is to have some time for spiritual connection, right? Whether it's prayer, services, church, synagogue, maybe it's meditation. This is a time where I think is naturally going to lend itself to connecting more on a spiritual level. And that leads me to the two, I think, most important things that we do on our weekends, which is, first of all, we connect with our community. This is a time where we host people, we host friends for a meal. We host maybe the elderly or the widowed or the orphaned or, the hard done by in the community. We host grandparents, we host cousins. We are guests in other people's homes and being invited out. And this is a time really to create strong community bonds. That's one of the most meaningful things that happens on our tech-free weekends. And also, another really meaningful thing that happens is the meaningful conversations. This is a time to have meaningful conversations with our kids where our phone's not going to ring in the middle, where we, have nothing better to do, quote unquote, right? Where we can actually start to settle into something meaningful, whether it's a Socratic debate, whether it's talking to them about family dynamics or relationships between siblings or behaviors that they themselves are exhibiting that we're not so happy with, whether it's telling them stories about their grandparents, about their history, about their identity, about ourselves, about themselves. By the way, if you want more tips on how to tell stories to children and how to use the power of narrative in your parenting, make sure to watch that video next. But this is a great time for doing those things. Now, of course, there are other things that we love to do on the weekends, like enjoying great food and making, a lot of time for play and laughter and fun and overall that resting atmosphere. But I did want to share with you because many people actually write to me and ask me, how do you do it? What do you do? What does it look like? How do you spend your time? And these are the things that we do in that time. Now, one thing that is really important for me to end on here is that a lot of prep goes into that. So typically in a home like mine, you're going to see a lot of hustle and bustle on Friday morning, even on Thursday, right? Getting all the cooking done, getting the house set up, making the arrangements with the friends in advance. Remember, we're not even texting them, when are you coming? Where are we meeting? We're doing all of that in advance. So everything is all set up and ready. The atmosphere is set. We spend a lot of energy on creating a great atmosphere. And if you want more tips from me on how to create a great atmosphere at home, make sure to watch that video after you watch the one all about narrative and storytelling. But we spend a lot of energy and effort into these weekends. So they're like, I guess if you've never experienced that before, a Shabbat meal or a Shabbat atmosphere, then you could think maybe like of a Thanksgiving meal, right? But that happening pretty much every single week, right? Every single week there being lots of lovely dishes and food, great atmosphere, family get-togethers. No one's on their phone. We're all trying to be together and having meaningful conversations about things we're grateful for, or about meaningful values, or about the news, or whatever it is that we want to connect over. And that's the type of atmosphere that we strive to create every single week. Now, inside of the studio, I teach you how to create a weekly family meal, how to take screen-free time, how to detox your kids from screens. It's not that we don't have screens in our home. We do. My kids watch movies, they play games. It happens, but it's all very much within kind of a boundary time, right? A time and a place. And our weekends just aren't it. That's just not when that happens at all. And so that's something that you can gain control over. And if you think to yourself, wow, I only have a few more years of parenting left, right? There's only 10 more years to go, or even 15 more years to go. But I want this time to count. I want to create a strong family culture. I want to create those vibrant memories. I want to create a household that is full of an amazing atmosphere and warmth and love and deliciousness and all that good stuff. I want to feel good and confident in my skin. I want to raise my kids in a way that I feel proud of. If all of that sounds good to you, make sure to get on the waitlist for the studio at highfam.com/studio. That is where I can teach you all of these things. I can break it down for you step by step. I can give you the PDF guides. We have the community of thousands of parents around the world who are all working towards this. And like I said, I don't expect anyone in there to take 25 hours screen-free and to observe the Sabbath. That is just me and my culture and heritage. But that is not for everyone. But what is for everyone is finding out what's your unique flavor, what's your unique family, what your unique values are, setting up the rituals and the traditions, and feeling really confident in your health choices, in your educational choices, in your financial choices, right? Showing up to the day like you would as a CEO of a Fortune 100 company, right? Because you're the founder and CEO of your household, and you get to set the tone and build the culture in your home, including fighting the big cultural trends like screen addiction. I recently watched a show where the kids were just portrayed as nonstop, constantly on their screens. And the parents were saying things like, did we fail? What have we done wrong? Why are they always like this? And without judgment, with judgment, I guess. But part of me was like, yes, you did fail. You're allowing your kids to look like that because you are the parents in the home. You're the ones paying for the screens, providing the screens, setting the rules, setting the boundaries. And I wanted to kind of strengthen them and be like, you can make a different choice. You can preserve the relationship with your children. You can preserve their brain and their focus and not allow them to be influenced by all this stuff. You really can, and you should. And I can show you how. So join the studio. That is what I wanted to tell these fictional TV characters. So instead, I'm going to tell you. All right, I hope this was interesting and helpful to you. Make sure to hit the subscribe button. So many of you watch without subscribing, but the best way to help this channel is by clicking on that subscribe button. And make sure to leave your comment down below. Do you ever take tech-free time during the week? Do you feel that you're completely overwhelmed by screens? Do you feel that your children are a little bit addicted and you don't know how to set boundaries without it ruining your relationship? If so, I also want to invite you to our screen time workshop. I have a workshop that is going to teach you exactly the steps that you need to take before you even switch the screen on. So if you want to sign up for that, make sure to check in the description below. Meanwhile, keep on living that high fam life, and I'll see you next time.